What are you postponing in your life? Let me share a story. So it's wintertime and I needed new windshield wipers. I was reminded that I needed new windshield wipers every time it started to rain. I would turn on the windshield wipers and they would make that loud, screeching noise, and they were just not doing a good job anymore. But it would stop raining, and so I would forget about it. This went on for months, literally months. Thankfully, it wasn't raining every week, but it went on for a while until one day I came outside and it was pouring rain. So of course, I turned on my windshield wipers and I'm reminded again, I need new windshield wipers. I hear the loud screeching sound that it makes when I turn it on, and they do a terrible job at clearing off the rain from my windshield. I can barely see anything, nothing's really visible. So I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I am going today to get new windshield wipers. So I drove 15 minutes from my house to the auto parts store. 15 minutes later, I bought new windshield wipers. They put them on for me, and in a total of 30 minutes, I had new windshield wipers. Now this had gone on for months and months and months. So after all of this happened, I asked myself, why did I take so long to replace these windshield wipers? Thankfully, I made it safely to the auto parts store and nothing happened, but why did I let it go so long? So for me, I always like to ask myself questions and analyze my behaviors and how I'm doing things, because you know how the saying goes, how you do one thing is how you do everything in your life. So I really sat in self-reflection with myself and really asked myself what was underneath this. And for me, what I discovered was I was really postponing some other things in my life as well. I was procrastinating, I was stalling, and I wasn't really doing some of the things that I really wanted to do. For example, I had been saying for a while that I wanted to go out of the country. I wanted to travel. I wanted to do some things. I wanted to see the world and all that good stuff, but I wasn't doing that at all. And my reason for not doing that was because I didn't want to travel alone. It wasn't something I wanted to experience by myself. I had never been to some of these countries. And so I was like, I want someone to go with me. And that stopped me for a long time from actually traveling and seeing the world, because I wanted someone to go with me. But in me saying that, I was waiting for them to be ready. I was waiting for them to have vacation time. I was waiting for them to have the funds, waiting, postponing, ultimately something that I really wanted for myself. So oftentimes in life, when you see yourself, exhibiting or having the same behaviors, and you find that those behaviors are no longer supporting you, you have to ask yourself, how can I change this behavior so that I can have what I truly want for myself, right? So for me, I wanted to travel. I wanted to do things, but my behavior of waiting and postponing and stalling about it wasn't really helping me have the very thing that I wanted for myself. And if we look at today, we can see that, with everything that's going on, tomorrow is not promised to anyone. I think oftentimes we take our lives for granted. We always think that we can do it tomorrow, not knowing that really tomorrow isn't really guaranteed. Tomorrow is guaranteed to no one. So it's important that when we think about what we want for ourselves, we look at what we're actually doing in our lives to have those things. What are we doing proactively to have those things? And look at where you're procrastinating. Look at where you're postponing. Look at where you're waiting. Look at where you're stalling, and see if it's really hindering you from actually having the things that you truly desire for yourself. So in this example, it wasn't really about the windshield wipers. That was an insignificant story, but it had significant value when I looked underneath it to see how was this showing up in my life in other areas. And see, that's just the thing. We have to be willing to really look and be honest with ourselves, right? And not just do things because we feel like we've always done them, knowing that those things are not getting us what we really desire in our life. Knowing that we need to make a change, we need to adjust, we need to have some areas in our life where we do some deep introspection so that we can improve those things and ultimately have the things that we want for ourselves. So no matter what it is, maybe you want to travel and you've been saying, well, I'll do it next year, or I'll do it the year later, or I'm waiting for this, or I'm waiting for that. If it's something that you really truly desire, determine what you need to do to make that happen. So it's not something that you're just talking about, wishing for, hoping for one day, but it's something that you're actually doing something towards, because it's something that really matters to you and it's something that you really want. So what are you postponing in your life? Where are you procrastinating? Where are you stalling? Where have you been saying, oh, well, I'll do it later, one day when, maybe if, and you've been making all of those excuses about, when you'll get it done. think about what you really want for yourself and what you really want for your life. And if it's going to bring you happiness, if it's going to bring you joy, if it's just something that you want, figure out what you need to do to make it happen for yourself so that you can truly have what you want now and today. And it's not something that has to be so far into the future that you're putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. So self-reflection for you, where or what are you postponing? And what can you do today to take the next step towards having that thing that you really truly desire for yourself? Until next time.